Football, basketball, soccer, tennis, whatever sport is on the table, whatever sport your kid plays, a new season is either here or quickly approaching. So we thought the sports mom might need a little pep talk. My next guest brought the boost you'll need to get through another season. Psychologist Dr. Tom Golightly joins me with 5 mantras the sports mom can live by. I love this. You pep talk those collegiate athletes all the time. Turn your attention to us, the soccer mom on the sideline.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I think it's really hard with youth sports. I remember this as a parent of kids that were participating in youth sports.
Yeah.
We have a little bit different way of conceptualizing winning and losing and what they're actually doing out there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we pay a little too much attention to our own anxiety of the moment. And these mantras are going to help us kind of get back to focusing in on where we probably want to be as parents and what our child might need as a participant in sport.
So that's the key here. That's at the heart of all of these phrases, is focusing on the little athletes.
It is. It can be such a great experience, and there's a reason so many of us put our children in sport, and we want it to do something. Let's make sure it's doing the thing that we want it to do.
Mantra number 1, every ride home is a celebration.
So going back to what we want to be, this is one thing I hear people that I work with all the time, whether that's college athletes or high school athletes, they talk about that ride home. And I think all of us watch sports and we see right after the events microphones shoved right into that athlete's face. Mm-hmm. And they know they have to do that, but a lot of them don't want to do that because it's like, I'm still feeling, and I don't know if I want to rehash this all the way, but they do it because they know we want it. And so we recreate that press conference scenario in the car. It can be really, really uncomfortable. So if we give them the space to either not talk, or if there is going to be an emotional tone, make it be a celebration. They worked hard. Every performance is honoring that process for the week and really enjoying it. So if we can invite a little positivity to that and not let them rehash what went wrong. And if they're struggling to do that, then be direct and say, hey, what 3 things went right? And what do you want to work on this week? And like the one thing you want to work on, so we can really help set the tone that's more positive, even after a struggling performance.
Can you give us a line? Let's say there was a devastating loss or maybe a personal performance that didn't line up to expectation or add up to potential. And I can see where if I in good intention try to redirect to something positive, that kid's gonna be like, oh, here's mom again, just trying to be Pollyanna. How can I acknowledge that loss or acknowledge that miss and still be what you described, that positive voice?
My go-to, honestly, even with college athletes, tough day, you played your guts out.
You played your guts out.
And it's like, okay, I acknowledge that was hard, but I also know that you put it all out there. And we don't need to necessarily go over all of the hard things. Let them have that space a little bit, because that helps them learn to manage the emotion and let them go through it. Not that we're avoiding it, but that just we need to give it a little bit of air, and that's okay.
That's super helpful. That's super insightful. Accept your role. What do you mean by that?
So as we increase in competition and our child is a little bit more competitive, a lot of times parents their role on the field or in the arena is really pulled back, and it's really about the coaches and the performance folks. So being able to make that adjustment with it, and as we start a new season, new clubs, new situations, we might need to kind of feel out, what our role is really going to be. And if it's lower levels and your coach that's volunteering their time for free asks you to do something, do it. You're not going to regret being involved. But as we kind of move on, taking a step back and really empowering our children to have conversations with their coaches and also help them problem solve on the fly. I think that's one thing that a lot of athletes struggle with, is learning how to assess themselves and make the adjustment on the fly. If we're constantly jumping in and trying to do that, they don't necessarily build that skill. So we can accept our role and kind of taking a step back if they are kind of upping their competition level.
I like that. And speaking of skill, you want us to remember the goal is to build skills, not write a resume.
So I was talking with my wife about this very principle. I said, how many times do, I watch a lot of sports. She's like, yeah, you do.
She's like, is the sky blue?
Right, exactly. How many times have you watched sports where the announcer stopped and said, this professional athlete won the U12 state championship? Never. You never do. But we in the moment, we're like, this is really important. Well, is it? Like, it is important to learn how to win. I get that. But I think every season, if we focus too much on winning, we're limiting them. And we can really help them build skill, whether that's sports skill or what we call the intangibles: discipline, work ethic, grit, resilience, problem solving, emotion management. Those things come through skill building, and and we have to practice those skills just like we do any other, but let the year be about that, not just trying to win or be as competitive as possible.
Great words for coaches too. I'm not meaning to take the burden or the mantle off of parents' shoulders. It's hard not to get swept away in the record, the wins and the losses, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I remember coaching elementary school kids. I'm like, oh, we lost. But 5 minutes later, none of those kids cared.
Yeah.
But they all know that they played and they had fun, and it's amazing.
Be team first is your next mantra.
So going back to those fourth graders, if I can for just a sec.
You learned a lot from those 8-year-olds?
I did. Well, I think it's really cool that they're like, did you see so-and-so who did that on that play? That was amazing. And sometimes when we are evaluating our own performances, we get caught up in the emotion of that.
Yes.
And it's hard to move on. I remember a particular time from high school, my team won. I didn't have my best game, but I had a teammate. My dad was like, hey, you won. Like, let's be happy about the win. And the next morning when I went back to watch the film, I really had this focus of what did my teammates do? Awesome. And it really helped me regain that focus and that drive to like be the best that I can be, because my teammates are awesome around me. And so if we can help our kids really focus on the others, not to compare themselves, but to rejoice with the people that are doing well.
Where does that go wrong? Where do they lose that? Because my 7-year-old on the soccer field this weekend, she always raises her hand to beat goalie, and I'm like, put your hand down. Because I get so stressed out. Put your hand down. And she came out of that game saying, wow, they were really good at scoring goals. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they were. Where along the lines do you lose that as a kid? Is that something that's taught, or is it just as you grow up and become more self-aware, it becomes that self-focus?
I think so. I think that fear of failure kind of creeps in. And so you start saying, what am I good at? What am I not good at? Which typically comes late childhood, early adolescence, where we kind of see those things. But that pro-social behavior, that leadership development, it's like, this is really, really good to like look at other people and see the good around you.
I love that. Finally, say it 10 times, say it 100 times. The goal is to keep it fun.
So the verb we use around sports is we play sports. We don't work sports. And it should be play, and it should be joyful. You talk to the college coaches around, and they'll all say youth sports, high school sports, that should be fun. There's plenty of time. If that comes, if an elite level comes, that's great, but it's a byproduct of doing something that you love. What we can do as people that are around our children, we can set them up in situations, manage the workload so that it is a fun opportunity. There's still struggle, but can they struggle in doing something that they love, and we don't kill that internal motivation that they've got, and help them not feel stuck in something that they're not passionate about, but really promote them connecting. And so being playful and joyful really should be our goal for the season.
We play sports. We don't work sports. All right, say it together. Every ride at home is a celebration. Accept your role, build skills, not a resume. Be team first and keep it fun. We're going to be hearing your words in our mind all season. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're better because of it.